So we are coasting through the week once again, and I've got these inlays. I've never tried inlays before, and I've got these very cool dragon stickers. So let's go play. Hello everyone and welcome to NerdGoblinart. I'm Lula. So I've got two coaster molds out today and I'm going to be mixing in some black and I'm using Apex resin from Apex Resin. I'm just going to use a few scoops in here. Now because I want to use the inlays and then the stickers, I won't be filling the molds all the way to the top. So we'll be putting in the black mica powder into the resin, popping those into the coasters and then putting the inlays over the top. So I'm just making sure that I'm stirring this mica powder in really well. As it's the Let's Resin mica powder, it's not like the usual black one that I use, which is just simply black. The Let's Resin mica powder has a bit of a shimmer to it, which is quite nice. It's I always equate it to looking like coal. So I'm giving that a little spray with some isopropyl alcohol and also the coasters. I didn't feel the need to use my debubbler simply because I can keep an eye on this and use isopropyl and heat. And it is the Apex resin as well, so it's pretty good stuff. And I also was very careful with stirring it. I was gentle. If you go crazy, that's when you start introducing a lot of bubbles. So I've not filled the molds all the way to the top. Spoiler alert, this is too much. I thought it would be okay, so I didn't take any out, but you'll see in a moment. It's fine, everything's good, but I should have put less of this black coloured resin in. They look like boobies. Eyes, they're eyes. So I'm just using my silicone tool to go all the way around the edges. There is a very, very slight lip there, and that's where the bubbles are going to want to hide. So just going around, and as I do, you do see a few bubbles starting to appear. So using the heat gun gets rid of those. You can try and pop them as well, but for some reason today, any bubbles that I seem to create, or sorry, I didn't create, but lift to the top, just wouldn't pop. Maybe my silicone tool wasn't sharp enough. So out with the heat gun. Now when I use my heat gun, I never use it on the highest setting. I say never, that's a complete and utter fib. In small molds like this, when I'm quite close, I've never had the opportunity to really use the higher setting. Perhaps I would if I was trying to move paint or resin around. But I've never tried anything like that really, so there you go. Explanation that was not needed. Oh dearie me. I just spotted a few more. It wasn't actually a bubble either. And of course, before putting in inlays, making sure also that no little bits like hair or anything like that landed in there. My hair's tied back, but I have cats. We have talked about my cats before, and hair just materializes. They're never in the room with me when I'm pouring resin, but it just floats in the air, then magically pops and appears. So these inlays I'm going to put down in the taco, like the taco effect. No, taco technique. So I'm spraying them first with the isopropyl alcohol and their taco effect. So the idea is you put it in like that and any bubbles will be pushed to the outer parts. But you can see here that I probably should have taken a bit of the resin out, but it would have been a bit of a mess at this point, so I decided I would just leave it and rely on the insert being more centre. These are from Mini Scenes GB from Tracy. I will link them in my description box below if you fancy getting them. So it's my first time using them, so I'll leave my opinion till the end. And of course, you need to make sure there's nothing on the molds as well. So once again, with the taco technique, and the good thing about these inserts is you can clearly see through them. So if there's any bubbles hiding under there, you're going to be able to see them. And just like with the first one, I'm just tidying up a little bit and going around the edge again with the silicone tool, just to encourage any bubbles that might have been caused by putting the inlays in. Okay, so it's just a case now of letting these cure. So I did put on my heat mat. Those aren't bubbles as far as I can tell. It's just it's the inlay. There's a few bigger dollop's not a very nice word, but easily to come off, and it's looking quite nice and clean. But can you see the problem? Can you see what has happened? They didn't stay central. I thought I was hanging around with them long enough, but they floated off to this one side, but that's fine. We can have a go at fixing that. Right, I've pulled out fuchsia chameleon flakes from Let's Resin, and I'm going to get some gloves on. Ta-da! Mainly because I am going to be using some UV resin after this, and I have touch dermatitis, so in general when I'm working with flakes, so pretty, I like to put gloves on. My hands can get a little bit itchy because you can see there, if you look at the screen, you can see it just flying away and floating up and everything. So just me being wary. But as I'm going to be doing some UV resin after this, it's just easier. So the inlays have created almost like the crystally effect, but I equate it to like a rock broken in half. That's how I'm seeing it, because this is why I wanted them for these particular dragon stickers. So I'm going to give them a topping with JDiction UV resin. Now this isn't the final coat, because for a coaster I'm not entirely sure that the UV resin can really deal with the heat of a hot cup, but the reason for doing this is just so that I can get this done a little bit quicker, rather than doing another coat of epoxy resin, waiting for that to cure and then put the sticker on and then put another layer on. I figured just do this in between. You put it under the UV lamp and hold it from a little bit higher and bring it down. I don't show me doing this on screen because it does take quite a bit of time, and you don't need to see that unless you really do need to see it. I'm just about to run out of this bottle of UV resin, which is fine because I got another one just waiting behind in ready. Just got to make sure that you're keeping an eye for any bubbles. It's not going to be a massively huge issue because the stickers are going to be going down. But you don't want any, you know, really, and you don't want any like really big, like, you know what I mean. It's not really gonna matter because of the effect. And as you can see there, I'm just going around and just quickly getting them up and going towards the edges. Yeah, this is the point I realised no more is coming out. So just grabbing some more UV resin. And I'm liking it. I'm liking the inlays, but obviously I needed to keep an eye on them a bit longer. So there we go. Nice fresh bottle and topping that up. So like I say, just eliminating a bit of a longer process. The epoxy resin, it wouldn't have taken a long time, but I have other projects that I want to be getting on with. If you're hearing a pussycat meow in the background, I do apologise. He's just been a very chatty boy. Doors are open. He can come in if he wants to, but he's being a plonker and sitting outside the open bedroom door. So these have been hewed under the lamp, and I'm just snipping them down a bit more so I don't have any issues fitting them into the space I need. To be wary with these kind of stickers, I forget the term, DVT sticker, something like that. I can never remember. Once they're down, they're basically down. You're going to be hard pressed to get them back up again. This sticker, I did have a few issues with getting the details of the horns. They didn't want to stick down. But I just figured after a little while, even if just one was there, it could have been that he's lost at the end of the bit of it in a battle or something. So it's fine. Now, you obviously take the backing off, and then you rub them down, and then you peel them back. You just need to be wary of any bits you don't want to coming off. Now, strictly speaking, you don't need to top coat these kind of stickers because they're not really going anywhere. But because these are coasters, I want to top coat them, and that's why I was trying not to fill the coasters all the way to the top, and is why it's a tiny bit frustrating that the inlays moved. But that isn't an issue of the product. That was me. I'm just gonna take this opportunity while I mess about with this sticker to thank my subscribers and my members for your continued support. Hitting the like button, commenting, it really means a lot, and it really, really does help my channel. If you're not a subscriber, please do consider subscribing. It doesn't cost anything at all, and it helps my channel. And I love creating these videos. It really, really does give me enjoyment. I thoroughly enjoy it, and I love meeting, and so to speak, getting to know the community. I also have a members. You can also join members. Now, it's only $3.99 a month. You get some perks. You get at least one early access video a week. You get an exclusive members only video once a month. You also get access to the Nerd Goblin albums. That's any music that I have playing on my channel, you know. So, and I will be putting up members' names as well from the video after this one. If I can, I'll get it into this video, but it's probably going to be the next video. But stuff like that. So consider it. That's all. So back to the video. I already had my resin made up. So this is the epoxy resin and this is the top coat. So Apex resin has a really good tolerance for heat. You know, where hot cups of teas are concerned. So it's it's fine to use. It's very fine to use as a coaster if you want to use these as coasters, you know. Oh, and I also added a titchy little bit of my diamond frost glitter. I will note that down in the description box below if you do fancy it. So I'm just making sure that it's going to all the edges, but what I'm not doing is I'm not being precious about it going over that bit of a lip that was created from the inlay moving. Now, it is an all right shape, and what I considered was straight away, I was like, it could be like a moon. It could be like half the moon. It could be that we're looking at them through the entrance of a cave or something. So, you know, it's not a loss. It is not a loss. Use your imagination if stuff like this happens to you. As I said, my first time using an inlay. So, lesson learned. But it has worked perfectly and it's done what it's meant to do. So I will be grabbing a lollipop stick in a moment because this one kept trying to run out onto the other part of that mould. If a little bit goes over, I'm not worried, but I didn't want it all running out onto that part because I can make of it what I want. There is another thing I thought as well, that these don't necessarily have to be coasters. If you have stands, you know, you can use them, you know, if you love dragons, I love dragons, you could have them actually sitting on a stand as an ornament. So, you know, don't have to just be the coasters, especially after that little boo-boo I made. So I'm just, once again, using my heat gun. And because the stickers were down, and I'd already given the, you know, after I put the flakes on, I covered with the UV resin so I could give it a spray with the isopropyl alcohol before putting this layer of the Apex resin down. So once again, it's just a short waiting game. This is a small amount of resin. So I am putting my heat mat on. My heat mat sits underneath this silicone mat. So when I'm ready, I can just turn it on, and it's only going to take about an hour to an hour and a half, as long as I put the tent on top of it. But I'm still making sure there's no bubbles along the edges, because that bit of the ridge where I put the inlay down has caused a slight little bit of a ripple. Yes, I could sand it down. I should have probably done that, but I didn't think of it until just this moment when I'm editing the video. But I'm still learning, you know, it's learning curve and all. So this is nicely cured and it's looking very pretty. I do love what the inlay has done, and I love the little bit of glitter. I'm going to leave them in the mold to do this part. So I've got the JDiction. I don't see an issue with just putting a little bit of the UV resin just around the very little bit of the outside of this. I think it'll be fine. So I've got my JDiction Silver Chrome marker. Really good markers actually. I wasn't sure when I first started using them, but I quite like them. So I'm gonna do both, but I'm only gonna be putting on a layer of resin, of the UV resin, sorry, and putting them under the lamp. But there's no need for you to see the lamp being on for the, because it does go, they do go over, and they do go over. Ooh, they go under for 5 minutes. I'm just following basically with the line where the resin rose due to the inlay pushing it down. Like I said, I should have taken some of the resin out, but there we go. I'm gonna try and run the pen as far down as I can, and it really does, it makes me think, it really does make me think of the moon. So any of the, where the epoxy resin made its way over that little lip, it should, we shouldn't be able to see it once this UV resin is down. And I can always go over it again with the marker if I'm not perfectly happy with it. So just got to be careful with putting it on. Obviously, if it goes over a little bit, it can be tidied up afterwards with a deburring tool. It's worth noting as well, just to make sure that the pen is as dry as it can be, because if you're doing what I'm doing and using the silicone tool to lift any bubbles up, if you touch the surface that you've put the ink on, you're going to cause some scuffs and perhaps some lines, which you don't really want. I mean, you might want them, but just to be wary of that, I made sure that these were dry between. I'm only showing the first one, applying the UV resin and then going under the lamp. There's really no need to show you it twice. If you do want to see stuff like that twice, obviously, let me know in the comments below. So, these are now cured. They both had 5 minutes under the lamp, and then I went over them again with the same chrome marker, because I thought it needed it, because it didn't quite take away the different, where the epoxy had leaked basically. But how cool is that? I love the depth, I love what the inlay has done and what the flakes, brushing on the flakes, has achieved. I think it is so pretty and interesting. So as I said not so long ago, I might end up going slightly over a little bit. So that's where the deburring tool can come in. So you just gently go around. If need be though, and it's not working for you, you could use a craft knife, but being very, very careful. I don't tend to use my craft knife on screen too much, because I'm a liability and I really do need to concentrate when I'm using one. And you can also use a sander. I use the sander sticks just to sort out any sharp edges. But it's really not that bad. They're not sharp at all. Ooh, So pretty. So getting the same chrome marker again and dropping the lid. And I'm just going to make sure that I'm right on the edge then, because where it was in the mould, as I said, there was a very, very slight lip in the mould. So just going right the way round, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to follow right on the edge to join it up. I kind of like the way it's turned out. Preferably I would have preferred the inlays to have remained in the middle, of course, but I didn't panic. I didn't go, oh, and and get cross. I just figured, oh, I'll have to do something with that. I did consider creating some form of a geode effect. That's quite popular at the moment. But I wasn't ready for that either. I didn't want to. So this seemed like a good idea, and I think it does definitely work. And it also proves I hate wasting resin. Nobody likes wasting resin. It is just way too expensive. It really is. It is not a cheap hobby at all, no. So rather than throw it, I don't throw resin away either. If there's anything that hasn't worked, I have a pot that I put it into, and it can be used as like filler to help the volume of resin, to save on resin actually. But I didn't think that these needed to be wasted at all. So, and I'm doing the same with this one. So I've used the deburring tool on it, and I'm just going around on the edge, and I'm going to do the same, just joining up on the line there. And if need be, I'll go over it again, maybe the following day, just to make sure that it's got a really nice coverage. These do take a good while to dry. That is my only gripe with them, really. It's like, dry faster. So there they are. I am really pleased with them. The stickers are lovely. I found them on Temu. I can't find the link for them, but if you type in your search bar, dragon stickers, I'm sure you'll find them or something very similar. So I hope you enjoyed watching. Love you, and stay weird.
In a room full of colors and swirls, NERDGOBLINart draws a magic world, with foxes that prance and badgers that dance, a whirlwind of dreams with a single glance. Gerald the alligator grins so wide, in enchanted waters he loves to hide. Dragons breathe wonder with flames so bright, each creature born from a magic night. NERDGOBLIN paints life in every brush,